Hey there, my name is Travis Hepworth, and I served in the Peru Trujillo mission from June 2010 to June 2008 to July 2010. A little bit of pre-mission story. I've always wanted to serve a mission. Both my parents have served a mission, and they often mentioned their mission. I don't remember hearing a whole lot of stories about their missions, but they often were like, oh, I got the scripture cases on my mission, or when I was on my mission, this is what we did, or I remember when I was on my mission, this was what happened. And I remember that wanting to experience that. So when I served, young men still couldn't serve until they were 19. The mission age hadn't changed quite yet. And I filled out my paperwork. I got it sent in. I was a freshman in junior college. I was pretty excited. I had my home address, my parents' home, as the address to receive the mission call. And we were good friends with the postmaster. And we would call, or we would ask, did it come yet? Has it come yet? We were pretty anxious to see what would happen. Both my parents served in Sydney, Australia, but at about the age of 16, I always knew that I wanted to go on a mission, but someone asked me, hey, you're going to go to Australia like your parents, right? And I just kind of knew that I wasn't going to. I wanted to, but I just knew that I was going to get called somewhere else. And that was just fine with me. I just knew that I loved the Lord and that I wanted to share His gospel with others. When I finally got my call, my mom texted me. I was in my college classes, and she texted and was like, hey, your call came. We're going to bring it into your dad's classroom. We'll be there by lunch. I was like, oh, great. She texted me at like 7:30 in the morning. And so I had 2 college classes and an institute class to go through, just waiting, knowing that my call was here but couldn't get to it because it was at my mom's house, and she was bringing it up to where my dad worked. And of all things, on my way over to the junior high where my dad worked, I got stuck behind a funeral procession. And it was one of the slowest processions I've ever been through. At least it felt like it. It was probably pretty quick, but I was so excited to open it that it felt like forever. I opened it. I read that I was going to serve in Peru Trujillo. I didn't know how to say that because I didn't speak Spanish. I almost flunked 7th grade Spanish, and a really good friend of ours, who was the teacher, pulled me aside and told me that I probably shouldn't pursue any language classes if I wanted to maintain a high GPA in high school. So I got a map, and I looked up Peru, and I looked up Trujillo, and I was just so excited. I had no idea what I was in for, but I was so excited. I went to the MTC. It was amazing. The Spirit was just so strong there. They Preach My Gospel is still fairly new. It was only 4 years old at that time. And they taught it so well, trying to get us to understand what we would be doing as missionary, what was our purpose, and how to go about being an effective missionary, how to find others who were searching for the gospel, and what was our purpose in teaching, what was the gospel we were teaching, what was the content. And I just remember writing home to my parents, Mike, please read Preach My Gospel with the Book of Mormon at home. It is amazing. And it really is. I do remember I was in part of a hybrid MTC experience. So I went to the Provo MTC for 3 weeks, and then they flew me and everyone else going to Peru and Bolivia to the Peruvian MTC. We called it the CCM. And while we were there's only about 110 missionaries at this MTC, and it was very different. I remember showing up in this strange land. I didn't know the language. I knew that the Lord would help me learn the language, but I didn't believe that I could learn the language. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's how it was. And everyone was paired with a Latin American companion and a North American companion, except for myself and the 3 missionaries I shared my room with. So my companion and another companionship. We're the only 4 North American missionaries without a native companion. So we didn't get that immersive experience, but it was still a lot of fun, and so much learning went on. I learned to love very early on at the MTC down in Peru. The elders there were amazing. The sisters were amazing too. There were very few of them when I was there. President Groberg and his wife, they were phenomenal. They helped prepare us. They helped strengthen our testimonies and build us spiritually. They were amazing people. Now, in the Peruvian MTC, we were given, on Saturdays, we would go out in companionships to different wards within Lima, Peru, and we would seek out inactive members who were struggling getting to church, and we would be paired up with a member of the ward, and we'd go out and teach. We'd go out and find these members and let them know that we love them, and we would try really hard to help them feel our testimonies and help rekindle theirs, that they would make the sacrifices they needed on Sundays to go to church and to be filled spiritually, get that nourishment that they so badly needed and craved. And as much as I loved that, it was a phenomenal experience. I just knew somewhere deep down that I wasn't where I needed to be. Lima is huge. It holds, when I was there, I think it was like 1/3 the population of Peru. It was a huge city, just sprawling everywhere. And so lively, there were people everywhere. And I just felt that it was a land that needed the gospel. There were so many members, so many good people, and such a faith-filled people. Doesn't matter what religion they were, they had so much faith down in Peru. But I felt like it wasn't for me. I felt like I wasn't in the right place.